Welcome back again, my dear students. Today we will read a very interesting story. It is called Pinocchio. Let's read and enjoy. Once there was a man called Geppetto. Geppetto made puppets. One day he made a puppet called Pinocchio. Let's see, my dear students, here. This is the word once. Do you remember, my dear students, when you see letter C, which is followed by letter E? So I will pronounce it what? S. Very good. It's called soft C. So here, once. Once there was a man called Geppetto. Geppetto made. So do you remember, my dear students, when you have letter A, which is followed by letter E? So I will pronounce it A, not mad. No, it's made. So it's long A. So I will pronounce it E-I. Excellent. So here I will read it as once there was a man called Geppetto. Geppetto made puppets. One day he made a puppet called Pinocchio. Geppetto said, "I wish Pinocchio was a real boy." The man, Geppetto, didn't have a boy or didn't have a son, so he wanted to have a son or a real boy. So he said, "I wish Pinocchio was a real boy." That night, a fairy came to the house. And pay attention, my dear students, to the word came. So again, long A. It's A, which is followed by letter E, so I cannot say cam. No, I will say came. So as if I see letter E with letter I. So that night a fairy came to the house. Pay attention to ow sound. House. Very good. So again, "I wish Pinocchio was a real boy," said Geppetto. That night a fairy came to the house. A fairy came to the house. The fairy waved her wand. So again, long A. A, which is followed by letter E, so I will pronounce it E-I. So it will be waved. Again, the fairy waved her wand. "I can move," said Pinocchio. So the fairy made a real boy of Pinocchio. It was a puppet, but it turned into a real boy. He can move now. "One day you will be a real boy," said the fairy. Again, the fairy waved her wand. "I can move," said Pinocchio. "One day you will be a real boy," said the fairy. So the fairy waved her wand and Pinocchio can move now. And this fairy said, "One day you will be a real boy." Geppetto woke up and saw Pinocchio and he moved. So he was very happy. They danced and sang. This is Geppetto and this is Pinocchio. And now Pinocchio, the puppet, can move. So Geppetto was very happy when he saw Pinocchio could move. The next day, Pinocchio went to school. The next day, Pinocchio went to school. Pinocchio went to school. Why? Because he can learn, and now he can move and learn, and he can go to school. So the next day, Pinocchio went to school. On the way to school, Pinocchio saw a puppet show. Puppet show. And of course, he is a puppet, so he liked to see the puppet show. He sang and danced with the puppets. He sang and danced with the puppets. Pay attention, my dear students, to soft C. Danced, S, E. So I will pronounce it S. Very good. So again, he sang and danced with the puppets. Oh, come on. But Stromboli, this is Stromboli, an evil man. He owned the puppet show. He owned the puppet show. He locked Pinocchio in a cage with his friend Jiminy Cricket. Stromboli put Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket in a cage. Cage to use them in his puppet show. So Stromboli saw Pinocchio and he knew that he was a puppet. So this puppet can move. So he thought that he will put this puppet into a cage and he will use it later. Stromboli owned the puppet show. He locked Pinocchio in a cage with his friend Jimmy Cricket. The fairy came to help Pinocchio. The fairy came to help Pinocchio. Again, my dear students, came. It is what? Long A. It is letter A which is followed by letter E, so I will pronounce them A. So here, as if I see letter E with I, not A. Again, the fairy. This is the fairy. So the fairy came to help Pinocchio. Pinocchio told the fairy a lie. Pinocchio told the fairy a lie. His nose got bigger and bigger. His nose got bigger and bigger. I will never tell a lie again, said Pinocchio. Again, his nose got bigger and bigger when he told the fairy a lie. So he said, I will never tell a lie again, said Pinocchio. The fairy waved her wand. The fairy waved her wand, and the cage opened, and Pinocchio jumped out. On the way home, Pinocchio met some boys. He went to play with them. Again, on the way home, Pinocchio met some boys. He went to play with them. must go home, said Jiminy Cricket. Where is Jiminy? Yes, so Jiminy said, you must go home. Pinocchio said, no, I like it here. I want to play with the puppets and I want to play with these boys. You must go home, said Jiminy Cricket. No, said Pinocchio, I like it here. When he said no, the boys turned into donkeys. Oh my God! All the boys turned into donkeys. Pinocchio grew ears and a tail. Oh my God! He ran home with Jiminy Cricket. Why? Because he was afraid to be turned into donkeys. And when he went home, he saw a letter. The letter said that Geppetto had been swallowed by a whale. Again, when Pinocchio went home, he didn't find Geppetto, his father, but he saw a letter, and the letter said that Geppetto had been swallowed by a whale. Pinocchio went to find Geppetto. He jumped into the sea. He jumped into the sea. The whale swallowed Pinocchio. The whale swallowed Pinocchio. He found Geppetto in the whale. He found Geppetto. So, again, Pinocchio went to find Geppetto. He jumped into the sea, and the whale swallowed Pinocchio. He found Geppetto in the whale. Pinocchio and Geppetto made a fire in the stomach of the whale. So they made a fire, a fire. Pay attention, my dear students, to long I in the word fire. Fire. This is long I. It's letter I, which is followed by letter E. So I will pronounce letter I as if I see letter A before letter I. So it will be fire. Fire. So Pinocchio and Geppetto made a fire. And the fire made the whale sneeze. Achoo! The fire made the whale sneeze. Pinocchio and Geppetto came out of the whale's mouth. And pay attention, my dear students, to the word mouth. I have ow sound. When you see letter O with letter U, they both team up together to make the sound ow, ow. Very good. Again, let's read it. The fire made the whale sneeze. Pinocchio and Geppetto came out of the whale's mouth. The whale was angry. He went after Pinocchio and Geppetto. The whale was very angry, upset, angry. So the whale was very angry and he went after Pinocchio and Geppetto. Pinocchio pulled Geppetto out of the sea. Then he fell down. Geppetto took Pinocchio home. Geppetto took Pinocchio home. And the fairy turned Pinocchio into a real boy. Again, the fairy turned Pinocchio into a real boy. A real boy. So Geppetto and Pinocchio were very happy, and they sang and danced all night. Geppetto and Pinocchio were very happy, and they sang and danced all night. So why were Geppetto and Pinocchio very happy? Why were they very happy? Because the fairy turned Pinocchio into a real boy. And here Geppetto was very happy because he saw Pinocchio as a real boy, and now he has a boy. Hope you enjoy the story, my dear students. Try to read it yourself. See you next story, inshallah.